Well, I found it, I was living in Barnes at the time, which is suburbs of London, and in a 16th century cottage. And it just wasn't big enough. We had RJ and we were expanding and we needed to find a bigger place. So we looked in Country Life, which is a magazine for houses. We saw this place and we decided to come out one day and have a look at it. We got to the front. We thought the front of the house was actually the house, and discovered it was just a lodge. And then found this place inside. It was 1,000 years old. And it was where Joan of Arc was sentenced to die in the 1300s by the 4 sitting bishops. And in the Star Chamber at the front of the house is where they had passed sentence on her and sent France for her to be burnt. But then during the Reformation of Henry VIII, it was closed down as a Catholic prebendal and became a farm after that. For larger counties, even outside Oxfordshire, it was a main prebendal where they issued the records of burial, penalties for crimes, marriages, records of marriages and things like that. All of those things were done by the church in those days and not by the state. So this was a centre for that. All prebendals were. And it was on Henry II and Thomas Becket was where they were still divided, and because of the assassination of Becket by Henry II, that the church became less important in the running of the country. Up until then, it was very important in the running of a lot of countries. And in this country is where the state became more important after Becket in the running of the affairs of the country as opposed to the church. So the church lost a lot of influence. When we moved in, we wanted to have that sort of 1500s look about it. And we got Stuart Interiors, which actually do a lot of work for Windsor Castle. What they call Grade 2 in this country means that you can't change the outside of the building, but there may be parts of the inside you can change. Grade 1 means you can't change any of it. This is actually where you can't change the outside, but there are some parts of the inside of the inside structure you can change. Actually redid it all. Covered wagon is a gypsy wagon from 1904, so 100 years old, approx, and or just over. And it's something my wife, Dweena, really loves to look out for these kind of things. It's getting a little bit weather worn now because it's always been in the same place. And when they were actually in use, those things were always moving around, so they wouldn't be sitting around wearing out. But it's a nice feature again, you know, and it gives atmosphere to the garden. This overlooks the rose garden. Again, this is, you know, full bloom in May is about the best time to look at that. And further over, you can actually see the vegetable garden with the old oak trees on the other side and the stables. In the 1920s, a lot of these buildings were still separate. There were a cluster of buildings, almost like a village, and then they were joined onto each other. Especially the back part to where the door is going in the back, that was joined on. There used to be an alley through there. We go to the other side, and they became as one. I mean, again, well, obviously the Grand Hall connected this to that, and I mean, there was a time when I first moved in, somebody walked down here before I had the gate. Somebody walked down here and tapped on the window and said, "Is this Long Prebendal Village?" So this is quite a magical area, really, and a place where I spend a lot of time reading. This is what we call the Alice in Wonderland garden, and it's been one of my favourite parts of the entire garden since I've been here about 15 years. It's got a great water feature, a great cascading waterfall, which goes right down to the River Thames, which is on the other side. And as I said, it's got a great feeling here, and you can see why. There's some very magic moments here. So yes, the Alice in Wonderland garden. Lovely, lovely place to come and meditate or think or reflect. So there we go. We're at the end of the journey. Thanks for coming for a walk with me through my grounds. This is the end of the grounds here. Sorry about the swans. Had a great time on the tour. Thanks for joining me, and I hope you enjoy the live concert, which I trust you're going to watch now. So see you next year. Bye.